May I request Dr. Nagao, Dr. Satoru Nagao?
Yes, I'm here.
Good morning. Welcome.
Good evening. Thank you.
Good morning. Dr. Satoru Nagao is a good
morning.
friend of mine as well as to our center, who has been visited a couple of times along with his teacher, Professor Michimi. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation. Please start your presentation. Most welcome.
Yes. I will use the PowerPoint, so I will share my slide. Wait a second.
Please.
How to share? Share button only displays desktop only.
Okay.
Wait. Okay, I understand. Okay, now can you see?
Yes, please take your
Okay, thank you very much. I start my presentation.
Yeah.
The title of my presentation is Russia's aggression in Ukraine and Japan's response. So, what happened in Japan is the main topic today. So, Japan's reaction toward Russia's aggression to Ukraine indicates recent Japan's perception. Simply said, Japan stands with Ukraine. Japan's list of economic sanctions is providing Ukraine with a bulletproof vest, a helmet, winter battle dress, uniform, or tents, cameras, medical supplies, and non-lethal weapons, and provide emergency humanitarian assistance of the U.S. $100 million in such area around Ukraine, as a health and medical care, food, etc., etc., and provide a loan to Ukraine at least 100 million US dollar. Or as the economic sanction against Russia, to revoke Russia's most favored nation status, or join with the effort to isolate Russia from the international financial system and the global economy, such as excluding selected Russian banks from the SWIFT messaging system, or prohibit of the insurance or transaction of the new Russian sovereignty debt in the primary and secondary market, etc., etc., etc. There are plenty of economic sanctions Japan has already imposed against Russia. If you're interested in, you can check this address in the bottom of this slide, and all of this what Japan has done is listing up in this page. So indeed, especially non-lethal weapons, shipment of the defense supply to the country party to the conflict is banned in the past in Japan. Indeed, Japan has already banned the arms export itself. So this is very important for the Japanese history. That's one small step for the world, but one giant leap for Japan. In addition, recently, the Ukraine President Zelensky address in the Japan's diet in the March 23rd, in 2022. So this is a picture that time. So we have the question: Japan stand with Ukraine now, but why? This is the main theme of today. So there are three reasons, I think. Firstly, Russia could not credibility justify its military operation in the United Nations before they started. So this means that it is using unilateral action to change the status quo by force. If the international community, including Japan, allow Russia to win the war, China want to follow. Russia's example by using the same type of the invasion against Taiwan, against India, or is possible others. This is not acceptable for Japan. That is the first reason. Second, if Russia wins the war against Ukraine, the US will need to prioritize Russia's deterrence in Europe. So the US could not withdraw its military forces from Europe and redeploy them to the Indo-Pacific to deter China. Japan is aware that it would face a serious situation if it had to deter Russia and China and North Korea at the same time. In this case, Japan needs more strong nuclear deterrence. That's why Japan started to talk about the nuclear sharing with the United States, etc., these options to strengthen our nuclear deterrence. Of course, this is not official level. This is just expert level. But why Japan talk about this? Because Japan is worrying the situation now. And there are the third reason. Indeed, Japan shares a border with Russia and has fought a war with Russia in the past. In the recent years, Russia has repeatedly provoked Japan. For example, in 2020, Russian military planes tried to enter Japan territorial airspace 258 times in a year, and setting off the repeated scramble of the Japan's air self-defense force to fighter jet. In 2021, 5 Chinese warships and 5 Russian warships jointly circled Japan. So these incursions are evident that Russia is a threat to Japan. The US and Australia share the same interest with Japan vis-a-vis Russia. That's why Japan's attitude is a little strong toward Russia. And this is a figure to indicate the number of the scramble Japanese Air Force need to deal with Russian planes. And the next slide, this one is the route the Russia's military plane is using in 2020. The red one is Chinese, but orange one is Russian. So Russian try to come Japanese territory repeatedly, and some of them come to the Pacific side. We call this route is Tokyo Express. It's because this military plane come to the area near Tokyo. This is the warship crossing the 3 straits of Japan, the Tsugaru Strait, Soya Strait, Tsushima Strait. Repeatedly, the Russian warship came crossing this strait and provoking Japan. Of course, this is international strait, Russia can do it, but at the same time, they increased the number recently. So, indeed, such kind of attitude is common around Russia this time, we know. Because we can check the list of the country of the Russian government setting up unfriendly countries. The list includes not only European or NATO countries, but also Japan, Taiwan, South Korea, Singapore, etc., etc. This means that all countries that share the border with Russia, except China, Mongolia, North Korea, and Central Asia, are included in this list made by Russian government. So this means that this is Russia's achievement, Russia's failure of the Russia's diplomacy, I think, because these countries do not trust Russia, because Russia provokes this country's attitude is unfriendly toward Russia, and Japan is one of it. Simply said, we cannot trust Russia. So why Japan stand with Ukraine? Because Japan cannot allow unilateral action to change the status quo by force. Because Japan is aware that it would face a serious situation if it had to deter Russia and China at the same time. Because Japan shares a border with Russia, and Russia has repeatedly provoked Japan. That's the answer of Japan's reaction. So, from Japan, now is the time for us to unite to maintain rule-based order. That's Japan's perception. Thank you very much.